Welcome to Boston, America's cradle of liberty and the capital of Massachusetts. Now, Massachusetts is an interesting place. To start with, it's a small state, but physically it's quite diverse, with some spectacular coastline on our east side and the Berkshire Mountains to the west. It's also a very old state. Our first European colony was founded in Plymouth in 1620. A lot of people think it's the oldest settlement in the country. It isn't, but we don't mind if they want to think that way. It's good for tourism. And the idea that Plymouth was home to the first Thanksgiving? Well, that one's more or less true. Massachusetts is a place where a lot of history happened, including some of the oldest brownfields in North America. But how do you approach cleanup in a state where even routine construction often unearths historical artifacts, and where almost every existing site had a previous use, in some cases more than one? For 2 weeks in October of 2006, we went across Massachusetts and visited brownfield sites. Some were chosen because of their age, some by the scope of work, and some because of interesting or unusual reuse of the site. But one thing we noticed at all of the sites: at each, we were building on history. Before we start our journey across Massachusetts, let's take a look at who some of the players are here, and take a look at some of the ways Massachusetts' approach to brownfields is unique.
Well, Massachusetts was the first state in the country to have a privatized cleanup program. So that makes us unique. Rather than trying to attempt to take on the 20,000+ hazardous waste sites with our own staff, we leveraged the support of the private sector, and we license site professionals to actually do the site cleanup, and then we do audits and we oversee the cleanup. That has resulted in very quick cleanup of hazardous waste sites. What would otherwise take years and years and sometimes decades has taken a very short period of time. In fact, our average site is now cleaned up within 1 year.
One thing that's different about Massachusetts regulations is they have a privatized system that allows for a private property owner to hire a consultant who's licensed through the state and to be able to address all their technical issues and meet the state regulations.
In 1998, we passed some legislation which created a series of tools that we could bring to bear on brownfields redevelopment. There was a $30 million assessment and cleanup grant and loan program created at our Mass Development Agency. There was a brownfields liability insurance program that was created, which would allow developers to buy insurance, which would protect them from cost overruns and things like that. There was a series of liability changes that were made, which were meant to protect innocent owners, lenders that would become involved in brownfields projects, as well as new developers, that they would be essentially held harmless from hazardous waste law violations as long as they followed the appropriate cleanup regimes.
The program is very flexible. It allows for site-specific liability relief to be negotiated because liability is complicated and changes from site to site, and it allows us to address the particular liability concerns that an owner or operator of a site has for a particular property.
From Mass Development's perspective, we are the development agency for the Commonwealth, and the Brownfields Fund, which the legislature has set up for us to administer, now about $60 million that they have given us, really leverages development in some of the most needy areas of the Commonwealth. We estimate that $1 worth of brownfields money spent leverages about $46 worth of development.